Hola Colombia, Nick Bidwell here in Namibia. The insights in my paper were part of research about rural community networks in 6 countries. A CN is a telecommunications network that is owned and run by local inhabitants of the area where it is set up. My research was part of the Association for Progressive Communications work on rural CNs in the Global South. In 4 of the cases I studied, different organisations develop hardware and or software for CNs, but the only case where developers actually lived local to and were part of their CNs was in Argentina, the case I discussed today. Members install their own equipment, which is mostly Wi-Fi. They connect between homes in quiet villages, fields, forests, or on hills. Each CN is named after the place where it's located, addended by the word Libra. The first Libra CN started when a group in their 20s and 30s created a small network because they wanted to collaborate and be free from the concentration of power that telecoms infrastructure asserts. So the CNs do not link to formal structures, but nowadays they do connect to a university which provides internet backhaul. And the CNs now cover over 150 households. Do listen to members of the different Libra CNs in their own words, in English and Spanish, at the website set up by Ultimundi. Ultimundi is an association that arose 5 years ago from the Libra CNs. It recently launched a toolkit of low-cost, open-source Wi-Fi technologies that address the limitations that existing equipment have and make it easier for people with few technical skills to set up CNs. This toolkit was innovated in the life of their Libra CNs because its developers are part of the CNs. I generated data in 18-month interactions with Ultimundi members at international events and remotely, and during a 2-week visit when I did interviews, focus groups, diary studies, and observations with 20 field people of different genders, ages, and backgrounds. I had an amazing translator. Argentinians are very chatty people, and they also drink a lot of mate. Like I did at PDC in 2012, I apply Ingold's ideas about a longly integrated inhabitant knowledge in my analysis. CN members attend workshops in small groups where they make and install equipment and learn to maintain their network. So they build and maintain material links between their homes that integrate their internet connectivity into their social and physical topography. Members' connectivity entwines with their ordinary lives. So when a member cuts his downstream connection every time he cleans his house, it affects other people. Light and Miss Kelly apply Ingold's concept of the meshwork to which social innovations and environmental sustainability. People accrue relational assets when their actions account for others. The Libra CNs shows us another detail about meshworks. Members do not just adapt to each other because the air between their nodes is not a void. Hops in their Wi-Fi mesh exist within medium and matter. Their meshwork is alive within the currents of a living atmosphere. So members adapt to seasonal rhythms, to foliage that blocks lines of sight between antenna, to lightning that fries electrical things, to hail that smashes their routers. Members do not have a complete view of the network. The training workshops simplify explanations for people with few computer skills. And as equipment is added to the network, so they might not know which nodes are downstream of their own. So members began to post to their WhatsApp group. They asked if it was their node that was causing a network problem, and they tried to work out problems in between their houses by comparing outputs of speed tests for their nodes. So members asked for a way to visualize and report the status of each node, and Ultimundi's developers built an app to show the status of nodes along the upstream path from a member's node. Members use the app to monitor the status of their nodes and diagnose faults. They use it to coordinate and maintain their connections. For instance, sometimes they annotate screenshots by putting the screenshot in a WhatsApp to alert an owner of an upstream node. Did you just reset your node? So members' use of the app lays down the conditions of possibility for them to collaborate. One member, who does a lot of resetting and realigning key antenna, asked the developers for a hands-free voice version to help her coordinate while on a roof. Other members had reservations, since collaboration is important. But my paper is not merely about the physicality of equipment, bodies, weather, and social relations, but about how innovation is an outcome of commoning. The app would not have emerged had members had similar technical skills or an overview of the entire network. Compared with other CNs in my research, the Libra CNs involve very diverse people. They're aged from 25 to 70 years. They have different mobilities, sexualities, economic classes, political views. For instance, because of rural gentrification, there are newcomers who are often teachers, university lecturers, writers, and members whose families have lived there for generations, who might be domestic workers, building contractors, broom makers. Newcomers use their CNs in protesting a proposed mine, which members whose families have lived there for generations welcome because of the employment it brings. The CNs perform in social cohesion. For instance, coordinating community networks, WhatsApp groups, helped to stop a thief escaping after burgling a home. The practices that produce and use the commons, their CNs, is about diverse people working together. Ingold says that commoning is not about looking back on how our experiences make us similar, but is about a mutual imagining that different experiences can join to travel the same path forward. What the CNs show is that making last in a world that is already full of dynamism is about creating a path together by adapting. Adapting inherently involves a sensitivity to the way things are going in your social and natural habitat. And innovations can arise as people try to relate details in their part of the habitat to other parts. I'd quickly like to say my greatest thanks to all research participants in the Libra CNs and to the Ultramundi. Thank you.